Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam! Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa mathematics. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!
Alright, so ayan, good afternoon sa inyo lahat. So it's a Monday once again, and ibig sabihin yan, we'll be having our session for Senior High School Earth and Life Science. So we are now on quarter 4, week number 3. So nakakatatlo na tayo, pangatlo na tayo. So ang pinaka-focus na ating session for this afternoon would be about the perpetuation of life. So basically, when we say perpetuation, this refers to the way how living organisms reproduce. So, sa madaling salita, reproduction. So, once again, I am Sir Tony, or Tutor Tony for Senior High School Earth and Life Science. Samahan niyo po ako hanggang 4:40 this afternoon at patuloy po nating i-discover, i-appreciate ang ganda ng buhay. Alright, so we are now, we are still using the module provided by Region 4A Calabarzon, or the PBOT module. So, specifically for this session, we'll be utilizing module number 23 with the same title, Perpetuation of Life. Ayan. So I hope everyone's ready and everyone's safe. No? Sobrang init ng panahon ngayon. Yung iba may mga rain showers, thunderstorms. I hope you're doing fine. You're doing safe. No? So you're doing great so far. You're starting the week so far. So I hope ready na rin ang inyong mga ballpen or lapis or papers. A copy of your module will also be of great help. And as always, presence of mind at saka presence of heart. Kailangan na kailangan natin yan every time na nag-aaral tayo. And of course, since we are having a virtual session or learning session, so samahan niyo naman ako makipag-interact kayo kay Tutor Tony by typing your comments, your shout-outs, yung mga classmates niyo or yung mga teachers niyo. Just indicate in your in the comment section your name and your location, or might as well the name of your school. Okay? So I hope everyone's ready. Ayan, so actually we are now on the last day of May, and sa mga previous session natin last May, ang ina-highlight natin is about diversity. So we forgot that May is actually the month of the ocean. So with the theme, the science we need for the ocean we want. So I hope makatulong tong mga tips na ito. So actually, we are blessed with very diverse na ocean, di ba, na nakakatulong sa ating livelihood, di ba, and of course, sa ating mga tourism destinations natin. So how can we help the ocean? So madaling commercial lang or info trivia lang ni Sir Tony. So first is use fewer plastic products hanggat maaari, no? So we refrain from using plastic products because some of these plastic products they end up sa mga oceans natin. And some of these plastic contains ang tinatawag natin na mga microplastic na nakaka-apekto rin kapag na-ingest yan or nakain ng mga marine organisms. Next, kung may pagkakataon, we join the coastal cleanup. So we clean the beach. Next is eat sustainably. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Protect ocean life diversity by knowing where your seafood comes from. And of course, we avoid eating marine creatures na talagang totally hindi naman talaga siya kinakain. And at the same time, ayun, so maganda rin na from time to time kumakain tayo ng seafood kasi instead of eating meat products, meat products kasi na ang product galing yan sa or nakakapag-produce yan ng malaking carbon footprints. Alright? Of course, another tip is use eco-friendly products. So the same principle sa mga kanina nabanggit ni Sir Tony na plastic products. And of course, saving water would be a great help. So these are some of the ways how we can contribute in helping the ocean clean, maintaining it, the beauty na sana maabutan ng ng iba't iba pang mga darating pa na generation. So once again, May is the month of the ocean. All right. So last week, we actually studied about the unifying themes in biology last week, diba, if you would remember. And our discussion focused on the 10 unifying themes. And once again, these are the biological system. The second one, all of us, all living organisms are made up of cells. We also have, yes, of course, the third one is we have to interact with the environment. Of course, we also need energy and light para makapag-survive tayo at makapag-function tayo sa living organism. We also discussed about form and function, kung paano siya nakaka-apekto, the way living organisms adapt or the way living organisms live on a specific habitat. We also discussed about reproduction and inheritance, how organisms reproduce. Ayan yung magiging highlight ng ating session for this afternoon. We also have regulation, if you would remember, di ba? How organisms, specifically us humans, maintain homeostasis, yung balance or the internal balance. We also discuss about adaptation, the need to evolve, so for evolution, and then finally, how biology and different researches conducted affect the society. So these are the unifying themes in biology once again. So okay na tayo dyan. So we'll be proceeding with week number 3 now. So as a review, ayan, tingnan natin yung comment section. No? Sana huwag kayong mahiyang mag-comment, mag-try na magsagot, especially to our senior high school learners or kahit hindi senior high school learners. Parents, teachers, and all the other viewers can also interact with us. And say, for example, number 1, fact or bluff. Biological system can be classified or can be applied to all levels of life, starting to the molecules of our cells, all the way up to the whole biosphere. So technically, that is a fact. Tama? Ayan. So number 2, second statement. All organisms are made up of, take note, similar and one kind of cell. So isang klase lang ba ng cell ang nagko-comprise sa mga living organisms? Of course, that is number 2 or statement number 2 is a bluff. So there's a variety kaya iba't iba yung living organisms. Alright? Let's have number 3. Ayan, may mga sumasagot. So Jaj Rio Florido Guela says fact. So siguro sa number 1 to. Good job, Jaj. Alright. Let's try number 3. The coordination of the form and functional parts on tinatawag na form, fit, function theme strengthens the structure of life. So kapag okay ang tandem ng anatomy, morphology, at physiology ng isang organism, it strengthens the structure of life. Of course, the answer is, ayan, it's a fact. Alright, let's try number 4. So habang pina-flash ko yung number 4, Mabilis na shout out lang sa ating mga early commentators. Nag-comment sa ating comment section. So we have, ayan, Machi Estemberg. Good afternoon. Watching from Nemesio 1 Yabut Elementary School, SDO Makati. Ayan, sa Metro Manila. Good afternoon, ma'am. We also have Des Castillo. Good afternoon. Watching from the historic place, Trece Martires City in Cavite. Ayan. So we also have Ethel Cristina Borte Castro. Watching from SANHS San Agustin, Isabela. Ayan, so kamusta sa ating mga taga-Isabela dyan? I think parang dyan, mainit ba dyan ngayon? Or are you experiencing thunderstorms dyan? So ingat-ingat po. Ayan, so number 4, of course, the answer is bluff. Ayan, so we cannot be completely isolated from the surrounding. Maybe yes, for some time, pero diba, kapag completely isolated ka, you cannot survive kasi we also need the other factors para mabuhay. And then finally, for question number 5, or item number 5, it says, energy can be obtained in chemical form in all the food we are taking in the body. So this, I think this one pertains to the human. By the way pala, no, so this one is found on module number 23, page 4 of the pivot module. So what do you think is the answer for item number 5? Chemical energy ba yun? Yes, that's a fact. So we obtain energy in the form of chemical energy sa mga food na kinakain natin. So good job. So I hope kung team replay ka man, so sana makasunod ka sa sa pagsagot natin at saka pag-discuss natin ang inyong mga learning modules. Ayan, JJ fact. Ayan, so sipag ni JJ, sana hanggang 4:40 samahan mo ako ha. And then of course, our viewers, make sure na paki-like, paki-heart react, and of course, paki-share ang ating live stream para mas marami pa po tayong maabot at patuloy po nating maitulay ang pagkatuto ngayong pandemya. Alright, for this session, we only have one objective. So we have to describe the different ways of how representative animals reproduce. So senior high school learners, when we say representative animals, so mamaya si Tutor Tony, mag-mention lang ako ng mga specific samples of animals that exhibit that particular kind of reproduction. So kaya tinatawag natin na representative animals. So paano ba sila nag-reproduce? So that's yung lang i-unlock natin for this afternoon. Ayan. So natitigilan na ako doon. Alright, so let's proceed. So the title of our session would be revolving around perpetuation of life. So reproduction. As you can see, mamaya, our study or our discussion will mention about how humans reproduce. Of course, animals, the lower forms of animals like the starfish or the sea star. So the mammals, ayan, we will be mentioning, of course, kilala niyo ba yan? Siya si Dolly. Sa mga unang nag-clone na animals. And of course, magme-mention din tayo ng mga simple organisms, mga microorganisms, and lesser of the, sa mga plantito tsaka sa mga plantita. Although magme-mention pa rin naman tayo ng mga plants later on kung paano sila nag-reproduce. If you would guess or if you would identify, kaya na ma-identify ito, itong anong klaseng halaman to. Ayan. So, ang tawag dito sa halaman na to, close-up view kasi nilagay ko, that is your katakataka. So, kahit, asexually reproducing tong ating katakataka, so may mga leaflets na tumutubo, and if you remove that leaflet, tanim mo siya ulit sa lupa, it can grow into another katakataka na plant or halaman. Alright, so let's begin. Perpetuation of life. So it says that there are varieties of organism in the animal kingdom possessing different modes of reproduction. So iba-iba kung paano mag-reproduce ng mga organism. Depende of course sa kanilang habitat at depende primarily sa kanilang organs or body parts. Ayan, depending on kung simple ba or complex, depending on the complexity of their morphology. Again, when we say morphology, ito yung form, ano itsura ng kanyang pinaka-whole structure, and physiology, kung paano nagpo-function yung kanyang mga organs. For us humans, of course, ayan, so kailangan ng daddy at saka mommy, kailangan ng sperm at saka ng egg para eventually ma-form yung zygote and then eventually magiging fetus siya. Mag-develop inside the uterus of the female organism. So that's how mammals generally reproduce, like us. For species, ayan, so isa sa mga interesting na animal kung paano nag-reproduce, ay ang ating mga seahorses. So instead of the females carrying the babies or the little ones, ayan, si daddy seahorse ang Ayan, siya yung sa kanya na nangyayari fertilization, and then eventually sa kanya rin magde-develop yung mga little ones or yung mga baby na seahorses. Siya rin yung magluluwal, di ba? So yun, so father, male yung nag-perform ng ganong function. So depende nga sa mga types of organisms. So also have, of course, ang mga masisipag natin ng mga bees, mga bubuyog. So depende na rin sa klase ng bees. Did you know that bees can actually reproduce by sexual or asexual reproduction? So mamaya, I'll give you another trivia about bees. Okay, ayan. Lalaki po yung nanganganak. That's correct, JJ. Ayan. So to give you an overview, so what is sexual tsaka sexual? So na-mention na natin to last session, di ba? So pag sinabi natin asexual, single parent lang. So hindi kailangan ng isang living organism ng partner. Wala nang male or female. Alright? So the offspring, pag sinabi natin offspring, we refer to the child or the next generation, yung next organism na na-produce ng isang parent organism. So that is offspring. Single parent. And syempre, since nanggaling lang sa isang organism, so it is classified or identified as the exact copy of the genes. So it carries the same genes dun sa parent. So sa mga scientists, ang tawag doon, ang technical term for that ay clone. Okay? Just like what happens sa mga, ayan, na-mention ko nito last session, yung mga hydra, yung mga small organisms na makikita sa mga pond water natin, mga fresh water natin. Ayan, so isa lang yan. And then eventually, mag-grow na isang bud. Ayan, meron ng parang full, almost full na siya, and then eventually mag-detach. Mamaya, kwento natin yung story ni hydra. Since overview pa lang naman tayo. Of course, if you would remember, in your junior high school science, starfish, although they can perform sexual reproduction, they can perform asexual reproduction as well. So it has 5 arms. Ayan, pwedeng ma-detach ang isang arm. And then the arm, yung na-detach, ay mag-grow into full grown na starfish. Tapos isa naman yung naputol, mag-grow down din siya. Kumbaga, complete organism pa rin siya. So from one starfish or sea star, naging dalawa na sila. So that is asexual reproduction. Again, it's a clone, single parent lang. Okay? When we say sexual reproduction, so na-mention na rin natin yung term na gametes, di ba? So gametes refers to the sperm cell para sa males, and then egg cell naman para sa ating mga females. Alright. So sexual reproduction in animals is the production of new living organism by combining 2 gametes from different organism from the male and the female. Ayan. So tignan lang natin ang kung gaano dinevise or kinreate ni God yung ating mga reproductive cells or the gametes. For the females, they have the egg cell, so which happens to be actually the biggest cell of the body, di ba? So if you would remember, although biggest siya, sobrang liit niya pa rin kasi ang size niya lang, compare natin siya sa parang pinhead, yung pinakadulo ng mga pins, gano'n lang siya kaliit. Pero it's actually the biggest cell in our body. And one of the smallest naman is the human sperm or the spermatozoa or the mature sperm na may kakayanang fertilize yung egg cell na yan. Okay, senior high school learners, don't be confused. Hindi siya yung tamang scale. So sperm cells are really that small. So ito, highlight lang kung paano para makita yung buong structure ng spermatozoa. We have the head, the midpiece, and the tail. Alright, so that's asexual and sexual reproduction. So tulad ko ng pinamis ko kanina, para sa mga plantitos at saka mga plantitas, some ferns, saka yung mga katakataka, ayan, sa mga nakakatuwa na living organisms, especially the plants, kasi nga mahilig din ako sa plants. Ayan, very amazing how they can reproduce, ayan, sexually, isang plant lang. Actually, sa isang dahon lang, ang dami nang nagrusulputan ng mga leaflets. Yung mga leaflets hanggang sa maging full-blown na sila. Ayan, hanggang pwede mo na siya i-detach, anin mo na, may bago ka na ang halaman. Alright? Ayan, so ano yung mga key points na dapat natin tandaan for asexual reproduction? So here are the key points. As I have mentioned, the formation of new individuals from the cells of a single parent. Okay? Next, it does not involve the union of gametes. Alright? So since walang male at female cells, so it does not change the number of chromosomes present. So tayo mga humans, you have the diploid number, we have 46 chromosomes. So 23 mula sa father, and then 23 mula sa mother. So for asexual, walang ganun. So ano yung number lang ng chromosomes ng particular organism. So iba-iba kasi yung number of chromosomes, no, ng mga living organisms. Mamaya may trivia ako tungkol sa chromosomes. And then the resulting offspring ay tinatawag nating clone. Kumaga exact copy siya ng parent na organism. So we have mentioned chromosomes kanina, no? So ayan, did you know that different species have different chromosomes or number of chromosomes? Ayan, fruit fly, yung mga fly na dumadapo sa mga hinog natin ng mga fruits sa bahay or sa palengke, makita niyo palipad-lipad. Yun ang mga fruit fly natin. They have 4 pairs of chromosomes. So in total, they have 8. So times 2 nila kasi pairs nga. So banana, 11 pairs. Human, of course, we have 23 pairs. And chimpanzee, ayan, mga kamag-anak natin, yes, kamag-anak, 24 pairs. The cow has 30 and the chicken has 39 pairs. So, di ba? So, living organisms may variety na number of chromosomes. So, depende nga yan sa magiging, syempre, the chromosomes or the genes will reflect kung anong klaseng organism yung mabubuo or ma-form. Alright? So, chromosomes. Now you know. Ayan, let's try to before we proceed with the discussion, try nating sagutan itong mga activity na to found on page 6 and 7. The activity is called Reveal Me. Ayan. So, papalitan nyo lang yung tawag dito, yung mga vowels natin, yung mga numbers natin sa corresponding vowels natin. For example, yung 1 magiging A, E magiging 2, and so on. So, first part or first type ng asexual reproduction, the pieces of the parent breaks off and develops into a new individual. So changing the numbers yan, of course, we have fragmentation. Ayan na, sa mga may hawak na modules natin, or mga worksheets. The process in which an organism divides into 2 and grow into a new organism. So palitan nyo lang itong 3 at saka 1. Divides into 2. Ayan. So, yung word na yun ay, it refers to binary. So, binary means 2. Alright? Sana makapag-comment kayo sa comment section natin. No? Miss ko rin yung mga nagko-comments dyan. Alright. The third item, process outgrowth or the callus projecting from the parent and eventually buds off. Yung kanina parang sa hydra. Yeah. So, it starts with B. Palitan nyo lang yung 5 tsaka 3 dyan. Of course, that will give you budding. Alright, so fragmentation, binary, and then budding. So yung binary pertains to fission namin. Binary fission yan later on. Next, ito, yung isa sa mga interesting na klase ng asexual reproduction. A mechanism of asexual reproduction in which female offspring develops from unfertilized eggs. So kahit walang partner na male, kaya pa rin mag-reproduce ng organism. Di ba? Amazing. So we have parthenogenesis. Ayan, we'll know more about parthenogenesis later on. Ayan, so JJ pa rin ang ating masipag sumagot. Ayan, sana masipag din sumagot. Huwag kayong mahiya. Please interact with sir. Ayan, and finally, we have the last item, a type of fission that involves direct reproduction in which each portion regenerates missing parts to become a complete new animal depending on the axis of separation. So mamaya makikita niyo yan, yung tinatawag natin yung axis of separation. So it's a kind of fission called transverse. Okay? Parthenogenesis and transverse. Ayan. So we are now ready to discuss about the different types of asexual reproduction. Tapos, magpapakita ko ng mga representative animals or organisms. So let's begin with fragmentation. So from the word fragment, ayan, a type of reproduction or cloning where one organism is divided into minor fragments or mga piraso. Okay? Once divided, these fragments develop into individual ones which are fully grown. Okay? So ang best example dyan, hindi ko makakalimutan nung college. Tinitingnan namin yan sa microscope. We have the flatworms like this. Ayan. So in this slide or this particular diagram or picture, ayan, day 1 to 7, kung paano nag-develop or hinati sa 3 fragments yung flatworm na ito, and then eventually the 3 fragments amazingly nag-form ng parang naging complete siya, eventually magiging complete siya na another flatworm. So from 1, naging 3 flatworm na siya. Alright? So this type of reproduction called fragmentation, pwede siyang gawin or it is being exhibited or done by cyanobacteria, mga different fungi species natin, plants. Sa plants naman, yung stem cutting, if you're familiar, di ba, yung mga drafting, marcoting, that's a means or that's a kind of fragmentation actually. Okay? So from stem, tanim mo sa halaman, eventually mag-grow ng roots, tutubo na yung mga bagong plant. Alright? Can also be done by animals, of course. We have the flatworms, sponges. Ang sponge yan na nakikita sa dagat, they're actually the simplest form of animals. They're not plants, they're animals, mga sponge. Ayan, some annelid worms, mga segmented worms natin. At of course, ang ating sea star kanino, yung starfish. Okay? Ayan, so meron din tayo tinatawag sa biology or sa science na regeneration. Okay, ano man pinagkaiba niya sa fragmentation? So ayan, as you can see, itong hydra, kanina di ba budding, sa example ko, it can also perform fragmentation in which, ayan, yung mga fragments niya can grow into new individuals or new organisms. Pero sa mga butiki, ayan, mga butiki natin sa bahay, huwag natin silang papatayin, okay? Kasi may role sila sa environment natin. So hayaan nyo lang silang paggapang-gapang dyan or pasilip-silip sa kusina o kung saan man. Ayan. So, ang mga reptiles kasi like the lizards, di ba, minsan pa napuputol yung tail nila. Ayan. So, ang tawag doon is regeneration. They can grow their tails. Pero ang ano dyan, do not be confused that is actually not a form of reproduction. Kasi yung tail na naputol, hindi naman siya nag-grow into a new lizard. Okay? So I hope you are understanding my point. So in tail, kailangan nyo maging bagong lizard para para ma-classify siya as reproduction. Pero hindi. So yung mechanism na regeneration na tinatawag sa pag napuputol yung tail ng lizards is not actually a form of reproduction kasi wala namang bagong organism na reproduce or na-produce. Okay? So that is just a form of regeneration. May kakayanan yung mga reptiles, specifically the lizards, na mag-grow yung mga naputol na parts nila, especially the tail. Okay? Yan. So the next one is after fragmentation. Okay, na tayo. So we have binary fission. Okay? Binary fission naman. Fission is magde-divide into two. Fission. Iba yung fusion kasi. Pag fusion, magsasama. Pag fission, mag-split into two, magde-divide into two. Ayan. So sa term natin sa biology or sa life science, separation of the parent cell into two daughter cells. So tulad ng sa other forms of asexual reproduction, yung pinaka-offspring niya, yung pinaka-anak o magiging anak, carries the same genetic material ng kung ano yung meron sa parent DNA. Okay? So, one of the best examples, yung diagram kasi yan. So, are you familiar with yeast? Ayan, yung yeast, yung baker's yeast, ayan, yung ginagamit ng mga bakers para magpa-rise ng mga dough. Ayan. So, living organisms, and actually, they are fungi, a form of fungi. So parent cell, following the diagram that we have, the DNA duplicates, of course, kailangan mag-duplicate muna ng genetic material kasi hindi naman pwede mag-split nung walang genetic material ng isa. Alright? Cytoplasm divides and eventually, we have two yeast na. So ganun, actually mabilis lang siya. So to give you an idea, oops, I forgot. Ayan, so mamaya na pa pala ang mga yeast natin. Sa yeast, sa budding. So, ang binary fission pala, by the way, is commonly sa mga bacteria. Ayan. So, mamaya pa pala yung yeast. Sorry, correction. So, binary fission is common among prokaryotes, like yung mga laging sinasabi, diba? Archaea, Eubacteria, Cyanobacteria. Ayan. So, kaya sila mabilis magpadami. In a matter of seconds or minutes, they undergo binary fission, so mabilis sila talagang dumami. And mamaya, may encounter nyo rin, yung amoeba, ayan. So, may mga representative organisms tayo, if you would notice, they can perform one or two means of a sexual reproduction. So, depende yun sa state na environment nila or kung ano yung mas appropriate sa existing condition nila. Okay? That's binary fission. Ayan. And later on din, mamaya, sinama ko na sa slide, no, yung mga tinatawag natin na protozoans or the protists. Sila yung mga intermediate between plant and animals. So, unicellular sila, eukaryotic, and kahit sobrang liit nila, they are microscopic, biologists discovered that they have a very complex metabolic activities. So kahit very simple lang sila, complex naman yung metabolic activities nila. So we'll find out more about these protozoans later on. Specifically, ito yung mga common na ginagamit sa pag-aaral ng biology. We have Paramecium, ayan. So Euglena at saka amoeba. So the protozoans kasi means of classification or kina-classify sila ng mga scientists based sa kung yung structure nila parang sila gumagalaw. Okay, so mamaya tignan natin sila later on, ha? Ayan, types of binary fission, ayan na sila. So for binary fission, we have 3 types. Binary, longitudinal, transverse, at saka irregular. So longitudinal, ayan lang, pa-vertical. So this one is sa Euglena, yung first example natin. That's just a diagram. So tignan natin yung mga real pictures under the microscope. Ayan, Euglena. Ayan. So si Euglena is intermediate between animal at saka plant species kasi ang Euglena, as you can see, kulay green sila, no? So, they can perform, they have chlorophylls So, they can perform photosynthesis or might as well, pwede rin silang, by yung means ng pagkuha ng pagkain is by means of their other parts. So, in between siya, animals at saka plants. So, that's for Euglena. For transverse, horizontal, binary fission, the best example is Paramecium, para siyang tsinelas, yung shape niya. And kung yung Euglena, meron siyang parang tail na whip, parang latigo, para makagalaw siya, parang sa sperms, diba? Para may whip siya. Yung Paramecium, it has mga tiny cilia, ang tawag. Yung cilia, parang mga tiny hairs. Okay? Paramecium. Transverse naman. The best example naman for irregular binary fission is yung amoeba. Okay, amoeba ay yung nagkukos ng amoebiasis. Yan, sa mga maduduming water. Ayan. So amoeba, since irregular ang shape niya, so kahit ano yung axis of separation niya, pwede. So again, longitudinal, transverse, and irregular binary fission. So depende kung saan nagsiseparate yung organism para makapag-reproduce ng panibagong organism. Okay? Ayan na, proceed tayo sa budding. So nakadalawa na tayo, fragmentation at saka binary fission. So let's proceed with budding. Ayan naman. So budding from the word bud. So parang may mga outgrowth lang. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina sa yeast. Ayan, so sa yeast. So may yeast cell dyan, step number 1. Step number 2, magde-develop siya ng bud. Ayan, trying to reproduce of course. So the new bud, ayan, meron na tayo. Actually, pwede pa nga siya mag-form ng chains of buds. Looking under the microscope, ganito yung itsura ng yeast. Ayan, as you can see, meron din siyang genetic materials, di ba? May mga parts ng cell. Ayan. On the scale of 10 micrometers, ayan, ganyan yung itsura ng mga yeast. And actually, yeast, baka napanood din ito sa news. Did you know that yeast is being utilized or used para makadevelop tayo ng oral na vaccine? So wala nang say no to tusok, mga ini-inject na vaccines. Ayan, so isang proud Filipino pride, ayan, Filipino pride. A Filipino molecular biologist and at the same time, isa siyang pirate, so priest. His team is working on the potential oral COVID-19 vaccine. So baka napanood niyo yan kanina sa news. So his name is Father Nicanor Austriaco. An MIT PhD holder, a molecular biologist, and a Dominican priest at the same time. So we hope, let's pray na mapagtagumpayan ni Father yan. No? So sabi niya kanina sa news so since oral siya, ihahalo lang siya sa mga drinks, sa water or sa milk, tapos orally i-consume siya. So wala nang tusok. Okay? So that's how the vaccine will work. Yeah. So good afternoon sa ating mga new viewers dyan. Ha? I hope you're having a great time. So we are having the Senior High School Earth and Life Science na tutorial session with Sir Tony. Ayan. So another representative organism is for budding is the Hydra. Kanina fragmentation siya, di ba? But commonly, Hydra can reproduce by budding. So ayan, may bud, mag-grow eventually. Kapag ready na siyang harapin ang mga hamon ng mundo, ayan, hiwalay na siya sa parent organism. So, sa totoong buhay, ganyan yung itsura under the microscope. We have budding. Okay? Fragmentation, binary fission, and budding. Ito na yung paapat, the parthenogenesis. Ayan. So form of sexual reproduction by self-impregnation. So yun ang term natin. Self-impregnation. Mabubuntis yung organism. Yung term mabubuntis yung isang organism kahit wala siyang partner. So how does it work? The production of the zygote or the fertilized egg, ayan. So it's referred to as the virgin birth. Kasi yung parthenos, it's a Greek word which means virgin, and then genesis which means birth. So virgin birth. Okay, so walang sexual contact or hindi na kailangan ng partner para makapag-produce ng organisms. And a lot of living organisms can actually perform or do parthenogenesis. Okay? Ay, nakapag-flash na pala ako. Sige, bago ko yan alam niyo ba yung name ng fish na yan? So aside from that, we other organisms, other organisms that can perform parthenogenesis are the following: scorpions, mga worms or the nematodes, mites, water fleas, wasps, some bees, ayan, some bee species, and other insects. Kung papansin nyo, mga lower forms of animals, mga invertebrates, mga insects can perform parthenogenesis. Kaya ang bilis-bilis nilang dumami, ayan. It can also be performed by vertebrates like amphibians, some fish, reptiles, and few bird species. Pero sa tao, syempre, hindi. Kailangan pa rin ng male at saka ng female para makapag-reproduce ng panibagong organism. Ayan, Sir Joel Kudiamat. Ayan, good afternoon. Loyal viewer ko to. Yes, loyal viewer. Lagi itong nanonood siya nag-comment. Hi, Sir Joel Kudiamat. Pa-shoutout po kami dito sa Flora National High School Division of Apayao. Yes. Sa mga kababayan po natin dyan sa Apayao, Division of Apayao. Good afternoon po. I hope you're having a great time learning with Sir Tony. Ayan, can you identify the fish or well, it's a type of shark. Ayan, the zebra shark. Ayan, can undergo parthenogenesis. And, ayan, the Komodo dragon. Sa mga pinakamalalaking lizards na relate sa, of course, kamag-anak ng mga dinosaurs. Sabi nga, one of the living dinosaurs of our time, yeah, the Komodo dragon can perform parthenogenesis. Alright? And of course, sa mga plantito at plantita, ayan, ang mga ayaw nyo makikita sa mga halaman ninyo. Kasi peste itong mga to actually. So these are the aphids. So dinedestroy kasi nila yung pinaka-sap or yung pinaka-juice ng mga stem or ng mga leaves. So aphids can actually perform parthenogenesis. Alright, so let's have a quick for our senior high school learners. Yan, you can take a screenshot of this, take note of this para matulungan ko kayo masagutan ng ating module. So module number 23, page 8, nasa page 8 to. Inate ko lang, so 10 items kasi to. So our task is to identify kung anong mode of asexual reproduction. And at the same time, ayan, may description kasi. So i-ano lang naman natin, ima-match lang naman natin siya. Alright? So let's answer number 1. Ayan. Honeybee. So, sa sample na natin So, honeybees, as I've mentioned kanina, they can perform, ayan, letter E, parthenogenesis. Females, egg develop into a new organism without being fertilized by a sperm. So, amazing. So, they have the egg cell. It can eventually grow into a new organism without a sperm cell fertilizing it. So, honeybees can perform parthenogenesis. Ayan, so good afternoon din sa ating mga other viewers. Ayan. Habang naka-flash yung natin screen. So we also have Maria Elizabeth Cacho. Good afternoon po ma'am. Watching from CSJDM Bulacan. We also have Ma'am Lilith Pakulanang Cervantes Perbilio. Good afternoon. Watching from Maitum. Saan po kaya yung Maitum? Ayan. So good afternoon po sa inyo. We also have Marie L. Viceras. Good afternoon ma'am. And mahabol sa ating session, Joe Eris Santos. Watching from Zambales. Wow. Ang pogi ni Sir Wow. Saan naman? Ayan po. Hello po kay Lumino Candela. Ayan po. Good afternoon po sa inyo. Sige, try na natin sagutan. The Hydra, ayan, performs budding, of course, letter B. Amoeba, kanina, di ba? Binary fission. Starfish can perform, of course, fragmentation, di ba? Yung mga arms, sa mga arms na can grow into another organism. Flatworms, kanina, yung mga hinati. Tatlo, fragmentation din yun. Okay? So yan, flash ko lang ng konti para at least maano nyo, Na-digest? Next, we also have, aphids. Kanina, kaka-mention lang, fresh na fresh. Aphids can perform parthenogenesis of the blue-green algae, cyanobacterium o bacteria, binary fission, okay? Blackworm, so it's a type of a worm. Ayan, fragmentation. Yeast, kanina, develop into an oral vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, can perform budding. And then paramecium can perform, of course, binary fission. So, stay lang natin for a while para may digest. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Ofelia A. Velasquez, watching from SDO Quirino Province. Ayan po, good afternoon po sa inyo. Ayan, so let's proceed na with the discussion of sexual reproduction. Ayan, so kanina pinresent natin yung mga key points for asexual reproduction. Here now are the key points for sexual reproduction. Kung kanina, isang parent lang. So for sexual, syempre, dalawang parents na. It's the perpetuation of a new organism from two organism with the use of gametes. Of course, the sperm at saka the egg. In this process, male gametes, which is the sperm cell, fuses with a female gamete known as the egg cell to form a diploid cell called zygote. Yung zygote, it's the fertilized egg. Once na fertilize na ng isang, yung pinaka-champion na sperm na nakapag-fertilize egg, ang tawag na sa kanya ay zygote or the fertilized egg. So, it contains now the two sets of chromosomes from the mother and the father. So, yung diploid cell, that is the 2N, so kompleto na siya from the male at saka female nga. Kapag pag sa nanay lang at saka or sa tatay lang, that is called haploid, haploid. Pero ang spelling, Haploid, haploid and saka diploid. During sexual reproduction, the genetic material contained in their chromosomes combine to produce genetically diverse offspring. So, syempre, yung offspring or yung anak, iba na siya. Hindi siya kanina, di ba, clone yung sa asexual. This one, it's a unique, kumbaga, combination na. Product na siya ng combination ng male at saka ng female DNA. Okay, tayo yun. Kaya nga nagkakaroon ng variety sa mga living organisms just like us. We also have to discuss oviparous versus viviparous. So, madali lang naman to. Pag oviparous, these are the egg-laying animals. Sino ba yung mga naglilay ng eggs? The birds, the reptiles, ayan, mga insects, okay? Some of those, although some mammals, pero generally, ang mammals, like us, we give birth to nanganganak talaga, live, viviparous, okay? Although, may mga mammals na nag-delay ng eggs, like the platypus, the echidna, okay? So, let's try to answer this, mabilis. Ayan, so oviparous versus viviparous. Oviparous pertains to the egg-laying animals. Viviparous, born alive yung kanilang mga offspring or anak. Turtle, of course, that is oviparous. Eagle is oviparous. You can comment sa sa comment section natin. O former student ko, hi Rexil, kumusta? Thank you for watching. Sana ma-share mo yung session natin. Giraffe, of course, is viviparous. Salmon is oviparous. Monkey, viviparous. Human, mga common to eh. By the way, beside the name of the common name of the animal is the scientific name. Magtataka kayo. Ayan, scientific name po yan. Okay? Human, Homo sapiens. Frogs, there are common frog. Oviparous yan. Are you familiar with, correction lang to, it's bonobo, no? Sa module kasi nakalagay bonobo. Pero actually, it's bonobo. The scientific name is Pan paniscus. It is viviparous. It's a mammal. Ayan siya. Para siyang, small version ng chimpanzee. If you're familiar, chimpanzee. Ayan, primates. Clownfish are oviparous, of course. They lay eggs. And cattle, mga baka, viviparous yan. Alright. Let's proceed with the next activity. I think this one is the last. Paswak tayo sa ating time. I hope you're having a great time, no? So, complete lang natin yung statement below by naming the figure or drawing given. So, during sexual reproduction, a haploid. So, tandaan, a haploid. So, tayong mga tao, we have 23. 23 plus 23, 46. A haploid sperm unites with a haploid, of course, ang kapartner niya, ayan, parang si Romeo at si Juliet lang yan, si egg. A haploid egg cell to form a diploid. So, 46 na. In human, the chromosomes of the sperm cell has N is equals to 23, and the egg cell N is equals to 23. After fertilization, the combined egg cell and sperm cell known as the zygote contains two sets of chromosomes. It represents the diploid now. equivalent to 46 chromosomes. It later grows and develops to be, so pwedeng possible answer dyan, ayan, pwedeng embryo, tapos maging fetus, child, or in general term natin sa biology is offspring. So that is guess me, no? Alright. So, ayan. So, of course, our session will not be complete without our hashtag, be inspired, and hashtag, be blessed segment kung saan dinarelate natin ang mga lessons natin sa science sa totoong buhay. Of course, we have discussed about diversity, we discussed about celebration of life, di ba? Yung uniqueness ng buhay. So, ang sabi dito sa quotation natin for this week, life is not always perfect, but it always what you make it. Di ba? Sabi nga, life is what you make it. So, make it count, make it memorable, and never let anyone steal your happiness. So, yun. Nasa pandemya na nga tayo. So, syempre, we choose to be, piliin na natin maging masaya together with our family. Pwede pa naman natin makontak yung mga friends natin, our teachers, di ba? Yung mga usual na namimiss natin, syempre, mga relatives natin. Ayan. So, let's choose to be happy. Di ba? Alam kong, syempre, ako din, tao lang din na nakaka-experience na anxiety, but it would be, ang tip lang ni Sir Tony, choose to be happy. So, find happiness in the everyday blessings na binibigay sa atin ni Lord. Okay? So, hashtag be inspired and hashtag be blessed. Ayan, nanonood si Mama. Hello, Ma. Nanonood si Mama. Hello, Mama. See you soon. Ayan. So, thank you for watching our session for Senior High School Earth and Life Science Week number 3. You can reach me via email, via Facebook, via YouTube channel. Yan, subscribe po kayo, Mr. Voice Educator PH. And sa bagong platform natin, mga senior high school students, you can discover wakelet.com. You can create digital portfolios. Yan, kailangan yan, especially kapag mag-a-apply kayo ng trabaho soon or you can create digital portfolios. So kita-kits tayo sa mga platforms na yan. Susunod po sa ating session would be TutorCat for Media and Information Literacy. So once again, this is Sir Tony, Tutor Tony. See you next week for Senior High School Earth and Life Science. Bye-bye! God bless po!
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa English. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!